Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasyad Viradavaktradhyaha Parishadhyaha Paraspatham Vignam Nighnanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamasraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Raghavam Dasarathad Bajam Apramejam Sitapatim Raghukulanvaya Ratnadipam Ajanubahum Aravinda Talayataksham Ramam Nisachara Vinasakaram Namami Vaidehi Sahitam Suradrumadale Haime Mahamandape Madhye Pushpakamasane Manimaye Virasane Stutitam Agre Vachayati Prabhanjana Sute Tattvam Munibhyaha Param Vyakhyantam Bharatadibhi Parivratam Ramam Bhaje Shyamalam Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranamam Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranamam Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranamam Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Om Namayeti. Now with the grace of that Bhagavan Sri Rama, who is always present, who is never born, but still today we just celebrate Sri Rama Navami, which is a celebration of Rama Jananam. And with His grace, let us partake and narrate what happened at that time, so that we all can relive those moments. They are all, it's Rama Navami, and we'll also go through. Navami means not only it is the ninth phase of the moon, or the Tithi, but the word Nava also means always new, eternally, always new. So every time we think of Bhagavan and relive those moments of when Bhagavan took this avataram that we call as Rama, and that is actually a new moment. It's ever new. So let us enjoy that, and with His grace today. So I'll just narrate fairly briefly, but hopefully, fairly intimately also what happened. So Dasaratha had married Kausalya, and then Sumitra, and then Kaikeyi, and every time he married, first Kausalya's marriage was different, and because the offer was given to him through his ministers Sumantra and his close friend, then since there was no progeny, and you need somebody to take care of the administrative responsibilities of the kingdom and the citizens, so with the permission of Kausalya, he married Sumitra. Then that also he did not have any progeny. So then with their permission of both Kausalya and Sumitra, he married Kaikeyi. And still he did not have any sons. Now Dasaratha had a daughter by the name Shanta through Kausalya. That we will come to in a minute. But no sons. So who was going to take care of the responsibilities? So after the marriage, number of years passed. The king, the queens, and all of them, they crossed the limits of youth, as we call. They became old. They middle age, and then they finally were entering the old age. But still, there were no signs of a son. So even though the women, the queens, were all living very in a palatial buildings very comfortably, no one was really happy because they were all very sad. There was no progeny. One evening, the four of them Dasaratha, Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi, they were sitting in a room in the palace and talking, spending hours of anxiety over the fact, what's going to happen to the future of Ayodhya, what's going to happen to the citizens, who's going to take care of them, their safety, security, and all that. They tried to, solve this problem, and each one was answering in a very intelligent manner to the best of their ability, very pleasantly. There was no blame game going on. It is just a mutual concern of what to do, but they were not able to solve this problem. Without a son, what can we do? Should we go and adopt somewhere? There's also various options they were looking at. So they decided we must consult Vasishtha, our preceptor, and get his advice. So next morning, they prayed for Vasishtha to come, which he did, and then they put the problem in front of him. The king said, who's going to be the successor after my days are over? This huge kingdom, it's so huge, it is going from sea to sea. And the Raghu dynasty we are talking of it. Now, who's going to take care of this? And Vasishtha thought about this for a long time, went into Samadhi, then he finally opened his eyes and said, "Oh king, don't worry. You don't have to worry at all. Ayodhya will not be rendered masterless," he said. "Ayodhya will not suffer widowhood. Don't worry. The domain, the kingdom will be happy. People will be prosperous in unbroken festivity, with evergreen, with all celebrations and all that. It's a very happy kingdom. No, don't worry. Citizens will all be well taken care of, because Ayodhya is a guardian of dharmic living, and this is even full of reverberating with music and joy and happiness." And Vasishtha said, "I will not agree, O king, to raising a prince from some other dynasty to Ayodhya's throne. No, the grace of God is there. It's a gift that is inscrutable gift. You cannot begin to fathom or even try to understand it. It's inscrutable. And the fact you have lived your life dharmically, fulfilling all vows and righteous way of living, will bring you the supreme joy of having a son. Don't delay any further," he said. "Go and invite sage Rishyasringa, the son of Vibhantaka, and perform the Pushta Kametri Yagam, the sacred sacrifice prescribed for those who want to beget a son. And with him, with Rishyasringa as the high priest, make all the necessary arrangements. Don't delay anymore." Queens also listened to these reassuring words spoken by Vasishtha. Very emphatically he spoke, without doubt, so confidently. So everybody, they were all filled with, when you get a shot of confidence, you feel happy. They were all filled with joy, with ananda and happiness. Then they know the bud of hope blossomed in their heart. Then the king now searched among all his entourage, all the people there in the kingdom, who was the right person to send to invite Rishyasringa. He cannot send any ordinary person. It has to be the right, appropriate person to go and invite him. So he called his old friend Romapada. He was the king of the Angada state. Angada is where current Bihar and those areas are. So Romapada is a close friend of Dasaratha, and Romapada really was childless, did not have any child at all. Dasaratha was so selfless, he actually gave away his own daughter, the only child he had, by name Shanta, to him, to Romapada. And Romapada brought her up as his own daughter. And this Shanta was married to Rishyasringa. So Romapada was the father-in-law of Rishyasringa, so he selected him. And then through him, the invitation was given to Rishyasringa. And in the meantime, they built on the banks of river Sarayu, very attractive. All the Homam kundas were all constructed beautifully, absolutely in conformity with the scriptural injunctions, and the city was also decorated, very joyous, with festoons and flags and all that. And then the Rishyasringa arrived in the city of Ayodhya, and Dasaratha welcomed him right at the entrance to the palace, and ceremonially he washed his feet and took a few drops and then sprinkled on his head, a sign of his blessings. Then Rishi Sringa, they asked the ministers and scholars, everybody, to sit in their appointed place and directed the king to sit on the throne. And Rishi Sringa described the various processes of the ceremony that was going to be performed, the Pushta-Kamitri Yagam. So all the priests present, the Brahmins, and everybody noted down the details. It was so perfect. The Rishi Sringa described it in such detail of how the yagam is going to be performed that everyone knew exactly even where he was supposed to be sitting in that huge sacrificial hall. So beautifully he described it. Then the sage Rishi Sringa said, the yagam, the homam should begin, the sacrifice should begin at the stroke of 7 the very next morning, 7 o'clock. The news spread all around the city, and before dawn, every street was decorated with green festoons. The roads were all packed with people pressing forward to this vast open space where the yagam was on the banks of river Sarayu, where the yagam was going to be performed. And the river bank was thick with people, with eager people. Everybody was waiting. Then Rishi Sringa with his wife, consort Santa, entered the specially built sacrificial hall, the Yajna Mandapam. The king and the queen also came with them. The Vedic chanting, the priests were all chanting Vedas, the music of bugles and trumpets and clarinet and the cheers of various people resounded from the sky. Then Rishi Sringa was installed as the Brahma, or the chief organizer for the Yagam, for the Yajnam. Then he assigned various tasks to the various people, the worship, recitation, chanting, propitiation, the various scholars. He assigned those work to them in accordance, consideration of their qualifications. Then the offerings were all placed in the sacrificial fire with the prescribed formula, the Vedic formula, the appropriate chanting, and the actual ahuti, the actual offering in the fire itself was done by Rishi Sringa himself with scrupulous exactitude, deep devotion and faith. He did that. Then from that fire that is scripturally fed, there arose before all the eyes in front of everybody a divine person who shone with the blinding splendor of lightning. Sudden stroke of lightning, how blinding it is. He held a bright vessel in his hand. And this happened, the vast concourse, including the priests and the king, they were all flabbergasted, wonderstruck, petrified with awe and fear and joy. Unexpectedly, they find there. They were all overwhelmed by the sudden onrush of bliss and mystery. The king and queens were shedding tears of joy in seeing this divine form. They cast their looks upon this divine person and prayed to him with folded palms. But Rishi Sringa continued that chanting with undisturbed equanimity, exactly as the text prescribed, as the Vedas prescribed. He was the least bit swayed or disturbed, even though the divine form was appearing in front of him from the fire. He continued to offer his oblations to the fire. Suddenly, a voice resounded from the sky. And Rishi Sringa at that time sat, and then he sought to listen to what the message from above, from the sky was. O Maharaja, the message was, O Maharaja, the voice spoke. Asariri, they spoke, Maharaja, accept this vessel and give the sacred sweet milk, the payasam in it, in appropriate share to your 3 queens. The voice announced. Placing the vessel in the king's hands, this mysterious person shining in divine effulgence, who had emerged from the flame, disappeared into the flame. The joy of the people, the princes, the pandits, and the priests who witnessed this great manifestation knew no bounds. Soon, the final rituals were all completed, and everybody went back home, and the king also took the payasam, the vessel containing the payasam, and then they all went back to the palace. Then, as instructed, the queens finished their ceremonial bath and entered the palace shrine, the puja room, where the altar of the family deity was. This family deity was later just Narayana, which was later gifted by Vishnu by Rama to Vishnu, and that where this installed in Sri Rangam today. That family deity, the puja room, they entered. There, Vasishtha completed the worship ceremony. The payasam presented by the divine person was placed in 3 golden cups. One thing to note, it is not like 50%, 25%, and 25% and all that. It's not like that. Dasaratha treated all the 3 queens exactly equally, no difference. So it was divided into 3 portions and it poured into 3 golden cups. Then Vasishtha called Dasaratha and then told him, King, give these cups to your wives, first to Kausalya, next to Sumitra, and last to Kaika. The king acted as he was ordered. The queens took the cups and fell at the feet of Vasishtha and Dasaratha. Then Vasishtha told them to partake of the food, the payasam, but only after touching the feet of Rishi Sringa, who had officiated the sacrifice, getting his blessing. Then you drink the payasam, he said. Now Kausalya and Kaikeyi, they kept their golden cups safe in the shrine itself and went to their maids to dry their hair before going to Rishi Sringa to take his Pada Namaskaram. But Sumitra, meanwhile, she stepped onto the terrace and then she kept her cup on the short parapet wall that was there, and then she was drying her hair in the sun. Then, while she was drying her hair, she was thinking on a peculiar situation. Sumitra was saying, my situation is very peculiar. I am the second queen. The son of the eldest queen will ascend to the throne, because that is his right. The son of Kaikeyi, the third queen, can also ascend to the throne according to the promise made by the king at the time of his marriage to her. Then Sumitra wondered. She said, what will happen to the son I would get? He will be neither here nor there. Why have a son at all to suffer as a nobody without status and sovereignty? Far better that a son is not born than be born and get neglected. This momentary thought went to her. This thought was only for a moment. But immediately she reconciled herself. She felt that what the gods decide must happen. None can stop it. And then she remembered Vasishtha's command and the king's order. She went towards a cup to pick it up, to take it to Rishi Sringa and get his Pada Namaskaram to drink it. And at that time, when she went to grab it, lo and behold, an eagle flew in and whisked the cup off in its beak far, far into the sky. And Sumitra repented for her negligence of the precious food. She felt that the king would be very upset, if he came to know of this mishap. Because got with tremendous difficulty. She couldn't decide what to do, so she went straight to Kausalya and told her the story. Just then Kaikeyi also came in with her gold cup into the room after tying up her dried hair. The 3 were loving to each other so much. They were like sisters bound by one single silken thread of love and affection. One person, 3 bodies. They were so together they much. To avoid breaking the sad news to the king, they had another gold cup brought in. Kausalya and Kaikeyi poured into it a portion from their own share so that all could take their seats together in the shrine. They ate the food, the payasam, while Rishi Sringa pronounced his blessing, and other elders and scholars chanted auspicious Vedic hymns. The queens then sipped sanctifying water and prostrated before the altar. They fell at Rishi Sringa's feet again and proceeded to their own palaces. Then soon, time rolled by. News that the queens were pregnant spread among the people. The bodies of the queens took a shining complexion. The 10th month arrived. Maids and nurses awaited the happy event and watched over the queens with vigilant care. Meanwhile, they came to know that Kausalya had labor pains. On the way to her palace, they learned that she had delivered a prince. On the second day, Kaikeyi brought forth a son. The glad tidings filled the entire country with joy. The next day, Sumitra had her labor pains and delivered twin sons. Auspicious signs were seen everywhere. The happy news filled all with immeasurable joy. The earth covered herself with green, trees blossomed all over. Music filled the air and clouds showered fragrant drops of rain, but only on the apartments where the babies were laid in their cradles. Dasaratha's joy knew no bounds. For years he had been immersed in agony that he did not have even a single son, and the birth of 4 sons gave him indescribable satisfaction and happiness. The king invited Brahmins and gave them gold, cows, and land gifts in plenty. He arranged for distribution of money and clothes to the poor and gifted houses for the homeless. He gave food to the hungry. Wherever one cast his eye, he could see people acclaiming the happy event, shouting, "Hara, Hara, Jai, Jai." The subjects gathered in huge assembles to express their joy in music and dance. "We now have a prince. We now have princes in the royal line," they prided themselves. They were more exhilarated than when they themselves had sons born to them. Women offered worship to God in gratitude for this act of grace, for they were sure that the birth of the sons to their king was a signal act of divine mercy. Dasaratha invited the preceptor of the royal dynasty, Vasishtha, to the palace and, according to his suggestion, got a learned astrologer to write down the horoscopes of the newborn. He announced that Kausalya's child was born at a most propitious moment, the divine half year of the sun's northward path, the Uttarayanam, second spring month, the Chaitra, the bright fortnight, the 9th day, Punarvasu star, Monday, the zodiacal sign of the lion, the Simha Lagnam, and the lunar mansion, the Abhijit, the period of Abhijit, when the world was resting happily and the weather was pleasant. Kaikeyi's son was born the next day, the second spring month Chaitra, the bright half, the 10th day, Tuesday, under the yoga of fragrance, the Gandha Yoga. The twins were born on the 3rd day, the second spring month, the Chaitra, the bright half, the 11th day, Aslesha Nakshatram, the 11th astrological yoga of prosperity, the Vriddhi Yoga. These details were communicated to the astrologer, who was asked to chart and write the horoscopes in consonance with astrological signs and inform the king of his inference therefrom. Then Dasaratha prayed to Vasishtha to fix the auspicious time for the children's naming ceremony. The family preceptor sat still for a few seconds. Vasishtha sat there still in his yoga nidra. He lost in meditation. He saw the future years revealed in his yogic vision. And rousing himself from that vision, he said, "O Maharaja, your sons are not just ordinary mortals. They are incomparable. They have many names and they are not human. They are divine beings who have assumed human forms. They are divine personalities. The world's good fortune has brought them here. I consider it a great chance to officiate at the naming ceremony of these divine children." The mothers were 3, but the father was 1. So Vasishtha laid down that the 10-day period of impurity, the purification period, be counted from the day when Kausalya delivered her child. So he declared the 11th day after the birth of Kausalya's son to be auspicious for the naming ceremony. The king fell at Vasishtha's feet in thankfulness for this favor. The preceptor left for his hermitage. The astrologer also approved the day and started writing the list of materials to be kept ready for the rituals. He gave the list to the chief priest and he left, loaded with presents that the king had granted him. Dasaratha had invitations written for the ceremony and sent them to the feudatory rulers, the various nobles, courtiers, sages and scholars throughout his empire, addressing them as befitted their rank and status. The messengers who carried the invitations were ministers, court pundits, officers and Brahmins, their status being suited to the rank and status of invitees. 10 days passed. The city of Ayodhya was brightened and beautified and made most charming to the eye. Music filled the air and spread over the length and breadth of the kingdom, making people wonder whether celestial angels were singing above. Fragrance was sprinkled on the streets. The city overflowed with visitors. The sages, the courtiers, and no others could enter the inner apartments of the palace. The rest, whether prince or peasant, had separate quarters arranged for them. Stands were erected in the courtyard of the palace to seat all the guests and invitees. They were accommodated there to watch the naming with all its attendant ceremonials. Very soon, music rose from the court hall and the chanting of Vedic hymns by Brahmins could be heard. The 3 queens entered the elegantly decorated hall with the babies in their arms. They shone like divine mothers carrying the gods Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. The bliss and splendor that pervaded their faces were beyond man's power of description. When the people noticed their entry, acclamations of Jai, Jai rose from their hearts. Women waved auspicious lamps before them. 3 special seats had been set up for them. Kausalya took her seat first, followed by Sumitra and Kaikeya. Emperor Dasaratha sat by Kausalya's side on her right. The Brahmins started the ceremony with due attention to detail. They lit the sacred fire and poured oblations with the recitation of appropriate formulae. Rice grains were poured and spread on golden plates. Soft silk cloth was spread on the rice, and the babies were placed on the cloth by the mothers. Kausalya's child stared at Vasishtha as if he was a familiar acquaintance. He tried to go near him as if he liked his company and would like to be near him always. Everyone wondered at the strange behavior of this child. Vasishtha was overwhelmed at this and he shed tears of joy. He had to wipe his eyes and control himself with much effort. Holding a few grains of rice in his hand, he said, "O king, the child born to promote Kausalya's joy will do the same for all mankind. His virtues will bring solace and contentment, joy and happiness to all. The yogis and the seekers will find a great source of joy in him. Therefore, from this moment, his name will be Rama, or the one who pleases, Ramyate iti Ramaha." The sages welcomed the name as very apt and meaningful, exclaiming, "Excellent, excellent." Then Vasishtha gazed upon Sumitra's twin children. The elder one, he felt, would be a hero, a stalwart fighter, and endowed with vast wealth. He knew that he would take delight in the service of God and his consort Lakshmi, and that service would be the very breath of life for him. So he gave him the name Lakshmana. His younger brother Vasishtha knew would be a formidable destroyer of enemies, a contented follower in the footsteps of his elder brother. He therefore blessed him with the name Shatrugna, the slayer of enemies. Later, he gazed on the child that was the source of Kaikeyi's joy. This child, Vasishtha knew, would fill all hearts with love and joy. He would amaze all by his unbelievable adherence to Dharma and rule his subjects with great compassion and affection. So he gave him the name Bharata, the devoted one. The people were happy when they heard the preceptor dilate the glorious future of their children. They were filled with love for the princes and called them from that day as Rama, Lakshmana, Shatrugna, and Bharata. Now, the Ramayana is an endless story, beginningless, endless. So we will stop here, this particular moment that we all can rejoice. At any time we want, at any place we want, we can recall what happened. Then that becomes Ramanavami, because it's ever new. Now, one may ask the question, so what? Dasharatha lived in Treta Yugam. Rama was there in Ayodhya. So what does it mean to me now? You see, Ayodhya means a place that is impregnable, that cannot be won over. That is my heart, my Hridayam. That is Ayodhya. And Rama means that place, that Hridayam. Dasaratha means simply one who has conquered all the 10 senses. Dasaratha indicates the body, one with the 5 senses of perception, the Jnanendriyas, and 5 senses of action, the Karmendriyas. That is the body. One who has conquered that is Dasaratha. And so the Ramanavami, the significance of that is to turn my mind, conquering the senses, and to turn my mind towards Ayodhya, where I live, which is the Rama in my Hridayam. The moment I do that, that is the moment of the birth of Rama for me. While Rama is birthless, but to me, he takes birth at that moment. As Swami says, you look to me, I look to you. So, with His grace, we had the greatest blessing to share this event that's happening in the Avataram's life. Rama came as Rama. And so let us rejoice this throughout our life. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.